shot! He dishes off to Jones, kicks it out to Aaron Martin, 4 seconds. Oh my goodness! He makes the three!
Are you kidding me, Aaron Martin?
Hello everyone and welcome to Wildcat Week. I'm Randall King, filling in this week for Roger Alcock. Well, it's been a lot of championships going on campus. Both the men's and women's cross-country teams participated in the NAIA National Championship. The women's cross-country team meet had 35 teams competing, and the Lady Wildcats finished 13th. Northwest Christian from Oregon won the national championship with 98 points. NCU was paced by 3 top 10 finishers, and their 4th runner was 11th. Senior Angel Osladil led Indiana Wesleyan with a time of 18 minutes 49 seconds on the 5,000-meter course. She finished 57th in the team competition. Junior Sarah McBeath was 2 seconds behind Angel, was 61st in 18 minutes and 51 seconds. Senior Isabel Wharton was the 3rd Wildcat to break 19 minutes. Wharton crossed the line in 18 minutes and 58 seconds for 75th place in the team competition. Now, compared to last year's results, where the Lady Wildcats placed 19th in the NAIA National Championship, the 13th place finish here is the best for Indiana Wesleyan since 2010. That year, IWU was in 9th place. For the men's cross-country team, the story was different. It was a record-setting day for the Wildcats as they placed 3rd out of 36 teams for the best finish in program history at the 60th annual NAIA National Championship for them in Charlotte, North Carolina. All the IWU runners earned NAIA All-American status. The top 30 individuals and the members of the top 4 teams are also named NAIA All-American. Oklahoma City won by 90 points to earn its 2nd consecutive and 3rd overall national championship. St. Mary edged out Indiana Wesleyan for runner-up by just 10 points. Junior Jacob Reinking and sophomore Nino Bellinati both finished in the top 20 of the team competition as individuals. Reinking was 15th on the 8,000-meter course in a time of 25 minutes and 6 seconds, while Bellinati was 17th in 25 minutes and 7 seconds. Also, senior Tyler Lawback was the 3rd Wildcat across the line in 25 minutes and 44 seconds. Lawback placed 38th in the team competition. Like we said, the 3rd place overall is the best the men's cross-country team has ever done. The previous best finish for the men's cross-country team at the NAIA National Championship was 7th. That came in 1996, and IWU scored 297 points. Nino Bellinati joins head coach John Foss, Robert Summers, and Luke Baker as the only 2-time NAIA All-Americans in Indiana Wesleyan men's cross-country history. Well, moving on to the hardwood, we had a night of upsets for the Wildcat basketball teams heading into the Thanksgiving break. Both the men's and women's teams faced off against the Knights of Marion College on Tuesday night. First on the men's side, the Wildcats hosted the Knights to what turned out to be a pretty decent Thanksgiving crowd. The Wildcats looked like the number 2 team in the nation going on a 10-0 run after the Knights scored the first basket. But after those first 5 minutes of the game, the Knights started to find the rhythm and quickly brought it back within 3 with a 3-pointer to make it 15-12. In the next 6-minute span, the Wildcats surged back to a nice 10-point lead off an entry pass from Josh Maywar to Bob Peters, making it 31-21, their biggest lead of the night. A 3 by Johnny Marlin put them back up by 9 with 3:21 left in the half, forcing a key Marion timeout. And it was pretty much all Knights from that point on. They scored the next 12 points to lead 41-38 at the half. The 22-3 run carried over into the second half as the Knights took a 10-point lead with 16 minutes left. The closest the Wildcats would come after that was pulling it within 7, 58-65, off a rare Wildcat free throw by Maywar. And they were 13-23 as a team, 13 of 23 as a team for the night. The Knights continued to make shots down the stretch, kept their comfortable lead, finishing with a 13-point lead, 85-72. The final score, junior Lane Mahurin led the Wildcats with 17 points and 9 rebounds on the night, while senior Johnny Merlin also put up 17 points and had 7 assists. The next game for the men will be December 1st in Spring Arbor, Michigan, for another league matchup against the Cougars. Now on to the women's side in Indianapolis, where it was a top 10 matchup. The Wildcats entered the game ranked number 5. The Knights were ranked number 9. Marion took the early lead, going up 11-6 in the first quarter. They led into the second quarter, but the Wildcats battled back, tying the game 3 separate times before finally taking the lead off an old-fashioned three-point play with only 28 seconds to go before halftime. The Knights scored again before the half, taking a 30-29 lead and held on to the lead for the rest of the night. The Knights went on a 20-10 run to start off the second half, took a 50-39 lead, but the Wildcats did respond with an 11-2 run to get back within 2 points, 52-50, with 7 minutes left to play. The Knights scored 9 of the next 11 points to go back up by 9 and finish the game, the final score 67-59. Junior Kelsey Key scored the IWU team best 12 points for the night, and senior Erica Isham had 10 points and 9 rebounds, just missing the double-double. Next up for the Lady Wildcats, they'll be hosting the Spring Arbor Cougars in Lucky Arena at 7 p.m., and that's a game you'll see live right here on WIWU TV. When we come back, we'll look at highlights from the first round of the NAIA National Championship Soccer Tournament, where the men's team took on Lindsey Wilson, and also we'll be joined by head coach Luke Sanford. Stick around for more Wildcat Week. Welcome back to Wildcat Week. The men's soccer team played in a wild match against Lindsey Wilson in the first round of the NAIA National Championship. Lindsey Wilson struck first in the 39th minute as Franco Roman took the lead with the first goal of the match going into halftime. In the second half, though, things started to heat up. Junior Evan Young ties the game 1-1 in the 67th minute. Freshman Nick Bannister served the ball into the 18-yard box, which was misplayed by Lindsey Wilson defender, and Young collects it to score. 10 minutes later, Franco Roman scored again for the Blue Raiders in the 78th minute as they led 2-1 late. With the clock ticking, Wildcats found another answer to tie it back up. This happened in the 81st minute when senior Keaton Albert launches a laser of a shot from outside the 18-yard box to send the game into overtime. Neither team scored in the two 10-minute overtime periods. The match ended in a tie, and the only way to solve it was penalty kick shootout. Blue Raiders started the PK shootout by scoring, giving them the 1-0 lead. Senior Corey Lopez was next, tied the shootout with a shot towards the upper part of the net, making it 1-1. In Lindsey Wilson's second round, senior Josh Gepper makes a great stop to give the Wildcats the potential to lead in the penalty shootout. Freshman Sammy Conti stepped up for his turn, gives the Wildcats a 2-1 lead right here. Easy shot to the left part of the goal. Lindsey Wilson did respond by making their third ground goal that was almost deflected by Gepper, tying it at 2-2. And then Evan Young was next in line for the Wildcats, did his job well by scoring there on an upper 90s shot to give the Wildcats a 3-2 lead. Then in the fourth round, Josh Gepper steps up, makes a huge save again to keep the Wildcats at the 3-2 lead. Finally, Keaton Albert will put the nail in the coffin here, steps up to beat the Blue Raiders in penalty shootouts 4-2, sending the Wildcats to the second round of the NAIA National Championship, beating Lindsey Wilson 2-2 and 4-2 in a penalty shootout. Great thing there, and they move on to the next round. So we welcome in Coach Luke Sanford, first-year coach. And what's it like just off the top to be a first-year coach and to be looking at now the round of 16 in the NAIAs?
Well, it's been a special year for me personally and my family, and coming here as my first head coaching gig. Every season is different, and every team's different. I definitely inherited a very good group, and the team has gotten more cohesive as years go on, and I think that was probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, win in program history. Beating a team that's so storied and has had so much success like Lindsey Wilson has had.
I was going to say, I've heard Lindsey Wilson. I forget the statistic I heard on radio the other day, but there's no college program that's done better in soccer or
winning percentage, and they have 9 national championships. Tons of guys that are playing professionally coming out of Lindsey Wilson. So huge win for us for sure.
Well, let's take another look at some of those highlights, and maybe you can break them down in detail and tell us what's going through the mind of a coach.
Sure.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to be putting dangerous balls into the box. Their goalkeeper's actually had quite a good year. So a couple of mistakes on his part, we take advantage of. A miscleared ball, Evan puts a solid shot on frame. And then, this is late in the game. The guys didn't show nerves. They stayed calm. We kept playing well. And, what a shot by Keaton, just placing it perfectly there under the bar. And
Seeing these Wildcats play, I know this is characteristic of good soccer teams, but their patience offensively is very impressive.
Sure, and they kept that patience, and I think we kept our poise even going into the penalties.
What's it like ending on PKs?
Well, it's brutal. It's a brutal way to end the game. It really is. But we have to have a winner at this point in the season, and it didn't look like it was going to happen in run of play, and so we had to come down to penalty kicks. Josh made a couple of fantastic saves, but the guys hit some really good penalties.
What a great nod.
Big
there.
save. That was against
your keeper. Just been awesome all year.
Yeah, Alexi Palaseco there for Lindsey Wilson. He'll be a pro. He scored 24 goals this year. It was a good penalty he hit. Josh just picks it out of the corner. It's a big time save for sure. And then you can sort of always hang your hat on Keaton. He's played a lot of games, and you can just see the excitement from the guys there.
I keep dwelling on this, but a first-year coach, you step in with a lot of players maybe you didn't have a chance to recruit, or maybe you had a small hand in.
Right.
But what's the team chemistry and the coach-player chemistry been like with this special group of guys to advance this far?
Well, it's not automatic. It doesn't happen in a day. It's taken time. I feel like I've been consistent and have to be as a leader, and the guys have adjusted really well. They've shown a lot of trust. And I think that has paid off down the road. And certainly there were times in the season that it was very difficult. We were 4-4 at one point, not exactly where we saw ourselves being. And the guys stuck with it. They didn't make excuses. We kept improving, and I think now we're kind of seeing the fruit of that.
Well, it's a cliche, but it's true. It is one game at a time, one match at a time.
Absolutely.
And you've got to now go through Thanksgiving break and then get on a plane and go to Florida. Now, that would sound wonderful, but this is in the middle of busy academic time.
Right.
And these guys have got to get their heads shifted from holiday mode to postseason. Really, seriously, postseason. What's the mindset that you bring to that?
Well, yeah. This is as far as our program has ever made it into the tournament. So these are big games for us. Big games for our program. I think big games for our athletic department. I think we can control that a little bit, and we don't exactly. We're giving them Thanksgiving Day off. That's the only day they're getting. We'll train every other day, so they're not getting a whole lot of a break. I'm sure in some ways it might be a little bit of a bummer for them and their families, but at the same time, you don't get this opportunity very often, and so we're going to take full advantage of it.
You play when you have to play, right?
That's right.
What does this team not know about sort of that patience they're going to need to get to this level of postseason that perhaps you can help them?
Sure. I mean, at this point in the season, every team's going to be good, and they should be. We're in the national tournament. We're in the final 16 teams of the whole NAI are making it down. There's not divisions in the NAI. It's everyone. There's one division for soccer in the NAI. So this is a really tough task, and I think this is something that this program, again, has only done once before, made it this far. We're a good team, and we're confident. And I think it's not about adjusting. It's not about changing us. It's about doing the things that we do well. So we'll continue to sharpen and train those things.
And coaches hate these questions, but 16 is just like any other round of 16. You'll go to 8, 4,
Correct.
and it'll be every weekend successive.
Right. And again, there's not Division 1 and Division 2 in the NAI. This is all the NAI schools are playing in the same level. So for us to be in the last 16, I think it's something pretty special.
It really is. Well, Coach Luke Sanford, congratulations on going this far and stepping it up. The next match, as we said, will be in Delray Beach, Florida, as Wildcats travel to take on Southeastern University's second round of the NAIA National Championship. When we come back, we'll take a look at the volleyball team, see their wins against Grace College and Oakland City in the NCCAA Midwest Regional Championships. We'll also be joined by Coach Candace Moats. Stay with us. Welcome back to Wildcat Week. The women's volleyball team hosted the NCCAA Midwest Regional Championships and faced the Lancers of Grace College in the first round. The first set, Indiana Wesleyan led 12-7 before scoring 13 of the final 17 points for the 25-11 win. Lady Wildcats scored the first 8 points in the second set. Lancers would get no closer than 7 points the rest of the game as IWU wins game number 2, 25-13. Lady Wildcats also held a 10-9 lead in the third set before they pulled away for the win. IWU scored the next 3 points and was not threatened again. Indiana Wesleyan defeats Grace College 3-0. Leading the way for the Wildcats were junior Bianca Cifaldi with 12 kills. Sophomore Morgan Miller also added 11 kills. Wildcats went on to the regional final match, and to go over those highlights with us now is volleyball head coach Candace Moats. Quick question for you. Coaches love to keep playing in the postseason, but is there any bit of a letdown, or did you sense any kind of a letdown of your players when you don't get that bid, you come up just a little bit short in the Crossroads League?
Yeah, it was basically what we've been doing for the last 5 years, and to face that circumstance was definitely hard. Everybody had to take a day to kind of absorb the left turn that we had to take. But that's what I'm most proud of, is that even though, you know, that was a definite disappointment, then there was the reality, okay, you know, we have to either take and embrace this opportunity, or we can just let it go. And so that was a choice that was made, and I couldn't make that for them, and they made it.
And what does postseason mean for you as a coach? More opportunities to practice, more opportunities to play, get more repetition and experience?
Yeah, you know, I kind of look at it as it's sort of a prep for next year. You know, it's like this is normal for us to be continuing to play right now. It's not normal for us to be in the NCCAA, but just it's a projection of next year. It's an opportunity to keep going. There's only a few teams that are still doing that.
Well, let's look at those highlights, and after you respond with that 3-0, obviously whatever kinks were in there from being down about not getting in, the NCCAA remedied that, and then you come in that second match against Oakland City. Did I say it right? And
Yeah.
Talk us through what you're seeing here as far as the response coming up. Same court, home court?
Well, you know, our first match was Grace College, and you know, they're in our Crossroads League, and in the past 2 contests that we had with them, they really challenged us. So we kind of came in with that first match just really intense, and you know, and knew that the second match was really going to not be that real challenging for us. So this one was kind of more just a relaxed play, but we really played strong in it and really made a statement that, you know, we're ready to play, and we're going to go out there and we're going to do what we can in this national tournament and kind of anticipate hoping to win it.
Did you see the consistency that you've seen all season from your players?
Actually, like Mark said to me, he said, wow, if you would have played probably at this intensity, maybe in the Mount Vernon game, it might have had a different turnaround. We really made a statement. I mean, we just sat down. I didn't call a timeout for the whole day. We just sat down and watched these girls play with passion, and it was really encouraging.
Well, instead of just sort of being lackadaisical, you're saying that once the players kind of got that out of their head, they really responded.
They actually were on a mission, you know, and the funny thing about it is, you know, we went into the gym the first match and the weather was fine, and as we got done with the second match, you know, we were seeing a snowstorm outside, and the girls were like, think Florida,
I was going to say, what kind of motivation is that?
There was definitely motivation, but I think another thing is, you know, I really do think, Dr. King, that we were strong enough to be in the NAI national tournament, and so I think at this point right now the girls are like kind of making that statement, like, you know, we were a good team and we are a good team, and so we're going to go and we're going to finish this well and show that we are a very good team.
I'm just looking at these highlights here, and obviously they are edited, but based on your description of the match and not needing to take a timeout, they're pretty reflective of what happened. They just laced it up and said, let's win this thing.
The blocking is really significant. There was just a great, that was what I was probably really excited about, was just seeing the reading, the good eyes that were following the setter to a place where they were able to go and see where the block was, and then to be able to dig around that. You know, there was very little kills. In Oakland City's match, I think there was only about a handful of kills really within the first 2 sets.
Third set here, we're already at 13-5.
Yeah.
And that's just great, consistent play.
Yeah, we were very dominant. Like I said, this really wasn't the championship match. Oakland City, with the seeding situation that it turned out to, Grace College really was, but we plowed through them too. It definitely showed that we were ready to play.
Well, I can hear the fire of a coach who is ready to move on to the next postseason.
Yeah.
Describe this team for me. We're seeing the winding minutes here and just dominating. Would that be a good word for this year's team? Would it be defense? Would it be offense? How would you describe this team and what's going to set you up for next year?
Yeah, I think what's really consistent with this team is that there's 16 players on this team and 14 play. And when you get a number of people that are playing in a game where you can put them in at any time and you can count on them, and in the rotations that we happen to do with a 6-2 offense, we play a lot more people than we would with a 5-1. And so the cohesiveness of this team is super strong. And even the two that don't play, young players right now, but when they get in, everyone's so excited for them. And I think it's just a family right now. And there's not very little seniors that are on this team, and they're just really excited for where we're going. And it's exciting to see kind of what this team has evolved in.
In two of the matches we saw live on WIWU TV, one of them, that first round, setting up with the Crossroads League tournament, I think that was my observation just announcing the game, was the consistency that's there. You see in a given match, some players seem to have more chemistry or have something going, but you just really don't have a letdown. Is that an accurate assessment from a layperson watching?
Yeah, like when you are running a 6-2 offense, that means you have 3 hitters all the time in the front row, every rotation. And if you don't have somebody on for one time, you just don't set them and you set someone else, because there's never somebody, they're not all not on. So that's the neat thing about our team, is that you can go in and say, okay, we're going to stop number 7, we're going to stop number 6, and well, then number 3 and number 2 are going to kill you. So that's the probably challenge of our opponents, is who do we stop? We can't stop everybody, so which player are we going to try to shut down so that the other players we can just try to dig? And really the strength of our team has really shown that you can't stop everyone.
Well, every coach wants to talk just about the next match and the next game, but you mentioned this is setting yourself up for next year.
Yeah.
How young is this team, and what might we hope to see from them going forward?
Like I said, we have 3 seniors on this team, and they have contributed definitely to our program, but I think you're going to see even stronger, because the distaste that they kind of have in their mouth with what happened this year of not getting that conference championship is certainly something they don't want to repeat. So I think you're going to see a passion, a hunger again. Maybe we fell asleep a little bit after winning it for many years in a row. Maybe it's now there's more urgency with this team, and the addition of the new recruits that we have coming in next year. I think we're going to see a stronger team.
In about 15 seconds, you're used to playing this time of year, but it's also a busy time academically. How do your players get focused after holidays and between exams?
The positive thing right now is that we're used to this, and so they have familiarized themselves with that challenge. And they have worked really hard to prepare themselves for this, because they always know it's coming. So I have very good academic students on my team, and we really do it well.
Well, we'll be watching.
All
Coach
right.
Candace Moats, thank you. The volleyball team, as we said, travels to Kissimmee, Florida to partake in the NCCAA National Championship. That's going to be against Lincoln Christian University on December 3rd. That's all we have for you this week. If you have comments or suggestions about the show, we'd like to hear from you. You can write the station, WIWU-TV, 4201 South Washington Street, Marion, Indiana, 46953. Or you can visit our website, WIWUTV.com. That's where you can see past episodes. And also connect with us online. It's WIWUTV.com. And we look forward to being back with you next week. For all of us here at Wildcat Week, thanks for watching.